Listen, before we get into this video and my conspiracy theories and what I think and what you guys have been hitting me up about, let's start this video off the right way and the appropriate way. Prayers, condolences, let's send love and light to the families involved, affected by this tragic incident, man. Tragic incident. All right, let's start there. Prayers, condolences, and love and light to those families, right? Now, you guys were hitting me up since day one. And yes, my first instinct, if you've been rocking with me for a long time, you know what I'm thinking about. Megalodon. I've been saying it. I've been thinking it. We've been talking about it for years, right? Megalodon. And I know they want to say it imploded and different things like that, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I just feel like it's something down. I even want to watch the movie The Meg again right after this situation just last night. I went and watched The Meg again, and it kind of lines up with a lot of things, including this submersible lookalike that they went down in the movie. So, yes, I have my conspiracy theories, absolutely. So we're going to check this video out where they talk about the missing occupants from the Titanic sub, and then see what the Coast Guard has to say in this video. Let's get to it.
Thank you for joining us today and over the past few days. This afternoon, Rear Admiral John Mauger will be providing an update on the most recent findings from ROV operations in search of the Titan submersible. He will provide a brief statement and provide the opportunity for questions after. Please limit your questions to one per outlet. Following the briefing, the Joint Information Center staff and I will be here to help you with any of your further needs. May I now please introduce Rear Admiral John Mauger.
This morning, an ROV, or remote operated vehicle, from the vessel Horizon Arctic discovered the tail cone of the Titan submersible approximately 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic on the seafloor. The ROV subsequently found additional debris. In consultation with experts from within the Unified Command, the debris is consistent with the catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber. Upon this determination, we immediately notified the families. On behalf of the United States...
Does that make y'all think they use that just to say, and does a part of you still feel like they don't have a clue of what happened down there? I feel like the imploded is just a cop-out. It's just to say, just to give the family some closure, and I get that. Nobody deserves more closure than that family down there of something so they can begin the grieving process. You know what I'm saying? But to me, it just feels like they're using that. I just have that feeling.
States Coast Guard and the entire Unified Command, I offer my deepest condolences to the families. I can only imagine what this has been like for them.
Yeah.
And I hope that this discovery provides some solace during this difficult time. Additionally, we've been in close contact with the British and French Consuls General to ensure that they are fully apprised and that their concerns are being addressed. The outpouring of support in this highly complex search operation has been robust and immensely appreciated. We are grateful for the rapid mobilization of experts on the undersea search and rescue, and we thank all of the agencies and personnel for their role in the response. We're also incredibly grateful for the full spectrum of international assistance that's been provided. The ROVs will remain on scene and continue to gather information. Again, our most heartfelt condolences go out to the loved ones.
Look at this thing, man. That thing just seems so small. Now, I've been hearing stories about people saying, you know, well, maybe the routine maintenance on it wasn't kept up to what it should be, you know, and maybe that's how, because my question was, how did it implode this time and not any of the other times? Queen looked it up. I think this thing has been on over 200 missions already. This thing went down there over 200 times or something like that, around that number. So how did it implode this time and not any of those other times? Was it not being properly maintained like it was supposed to? See, that's what makes me think there's something more here.
Of the crew. We'll now take questions.
Did they get off course?
Can you talk about the delay in reporting the vessel missing and what impact that had on the
This was a incredibly complex case, and we're still working to develop the details for the timeline involved with this casualty and the response. And so we'll provide that information.
Okay, so I get it now, y'all. This view right here makes it look a little bit bigger. Underwater, it was looking extremely small. That view there underwater didn't do it justice. It's a little bigger here because you could see it in relation to people that's right next to it. So it's bigger than I expected.
So this is an incredibly complex operating environment on the seafloor, over 2 miles beneath the surface. And so the remote operating vehicle has been searching, and it is highly capable. And we've been able to classify parts of the pressure chamber for the Titan submersible. Let me refer to one of my undersea experts here, Mr. Paul Hankin, to talk about the nature of some of the debris.
Let's just say, for example, it did implode, right? Could something big, when I say big, I'm talking megalodon or the Kraken size, hit it and cause it to damage itself, maybe putting a hole and damage the vessel, and then it imploding? Like, let's talk about the possibilities.
Thank you, Admiral. So essentially, we found 5 different major pieces of debris that told us that it was the remains of the Titan. The initial thing we found was the nose cone, which was outside of the pressure hull. We then found a large debris field. Within that large debris field, we found the front end bell of the pressure hull. That was the first indication that there was a catastrophic event. Shortly thereafter, we found a second smaller debris field. Within that debris field, we found the other end of the pressure hull, the aft end bell, which was basically comprised of the totality of that pressure vessel. We continue to map the debris field, and as the Admiral said, we will do the best we can to fully map out what's down there.
Thanks, Paul.
It's a very difficult question to ask, but it will be an important one for the families, of course. What are the prospects of recovering the bodies of the missing?
So the questions was related. I'm restating the question from the standpoint of sometimes it's hard to hear the question here. What are the prospects for recovering crew members? And so this is a incredibly unforgiving environment down there on the seafloor, and the debris is consistent with a catastrophic implosion of the vessel. And so we'll continue to work and continue to search the area down there, but I don't have an answer for prospects at this time.
Admiral Tom Costello of NBC News.
Now, I've been seeing a lot of people saying, oh my God, they had no business going down there. Stop. I've seen a lot of people on Instagram jumping out of planes, bungee jumping, a lot of things that I wouldn't necessarily do, you know. But when you have the resources and capabilities to be able to do some of these once in a lifetime things, you can't Monday morning armchair quarterback and sit here and say that you wouldn't try to do it. Stop it. I might not necessarily do that, but who knows, you get up in age and you say, you know what? $250,000, I got it, or whatever the price tag on this was, I got it. I've done this in my life, I've accomplished this. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So you can't knock somebody for that, bro. I get what, I hear everybody talking, but stop sitting here and saying what you wouldn't do when you have the money. You might not have the money, so of course you're not gonna say you're gonna do that. That's a big ticket item to you. But to them, somebody else, a billionaire's dropping a bucket for him.
Is there any suggestion? Any suggestion at all that the sub itself collided with the wreckage of Titanic, or that instead it might have imploded above the wreckage and then rained down nearby?
So the question was, is there any question as to whether or not the sub collided with the Titanic or whether it imploded above and debris field created from that? So the location of the Titan submersible was in an area that was approximately 1,600 feet from the wreck of the Titanic. I have an expert here that is familiar with that area and can talk about the debris field and what the debris field indicates in terms of where the casualty may have occurred.
Rear Admiral, really quickly, can you tell me when that massive fleet will be called back?
The expert voice is coming up to answer the question.
Thank you, Admiral. So the question is, where does the wreck lie in relation to the Titanic? I didn't hear the Admiral's answer. I think 1,600 feet. Was that correct, Admiral?
Yep, you got it.
So that's off the bow of Titanic. It's in an area where there is not any debris of Titanic. It is a smooth bottom. There, to my knowledge and anything I've seen, there's no Titanic wreckage in that area. And again, 200 plus meters from the bow, and consistent with the location of last communication for an implosion in the water column. And the size of the debris field is consistent with that implosion in the water column.
Thanks.
What would cause the implosion?
I still think Megalodon. I'm sorry. We don't know. How can y'all argue with me or combat with me about there being no Megalodon? You don't know. How much of the ocean has been discovered? Exactly. A small percentage of it. You're talking about waters that are extremely deep. You've passed all of the blue whales and different levels where those type of marine life would be. Now you're getting down here in uncharted waters. The deep area. You don't know what's down there. No. That sounds like Meg to me.
In terms of the timing here, you say that this was a catastrophic implosion. And I know it's early on, but is it your estimation that this happened right at the moment when they lost contact, an hour and 45 minutes after the descent?
So the question was about the timing of the catastrophic implosion. Right now, it is too early to tell with that. We know that as we've been prosecuting this search over the course of the last 72 hours and beyond, that we've had sonar buoys in the water nearly continuously and have not detected any catastrophic events when those sonar buoys have been in the water. So.
Can you describe what happens from here, sir, in the next days and weeks in terms of finding any more debris? What happens from here?
So we will. The question was, what happens from here? What's the next phase? And so right now, again, our thoughts are with the families and making sure that they have an
Comfort.
understanding as best as we can provide of what happened and begin to find some closure. In terms of the large process, we're going to continue to.
That's gonna be hard. Did you mean to tell me my brother, his son, and other people are down there? I couldn't give up like that. Even though you said oxygen's gone, it's imploded, I'd still be down there trying to like exhaust everything I had to try to make sure. Cause who's to say they didn't? I don't know. It's in the middle of the water though. Chances of them making it to the surface and just, they probably scanned those waters for miles and miles and miles to make sure they wasn't on something, you know? And that's another thing. In this submersible, oh my gosh, they needed better communication with the top. And I know once you get so deep, you probably lose communication, right? So I heard people talking about why wasn't there like a tagline or something like that. Is that even possible to even have a line to stay connected going that deep? Could you do that? Did it have one? Like, I have so many different questions, man. And without the bodies, then you can't really make a definitive call on how this thing played out. It just seems like, to me, it just seems like everybody wants to hang their hat on implosion. And I'm not buying that. I feel like that's just the first thing they're throwing out to give, like I said, the family some closure, to stop, I guess, everybody from reporting on it, to kind of slow down the traffic and the talks about it. But to me, conspiracy theorists, the little bit of that I am, I just think it's more. And without the bodies, then they don't have to answer those questions. They can just make us say, if somebody was to throw out, okay, what about a huge shark or a large squid or something like that? They can dismiss it without a body. They can dismiss it, make us look crazy.
Investigate the site of the debris field. And then I know that there's also a lot of questions about how, why, and when did this happen. And so, those are questions that we will collect as much information as we can on now, while the governments are meeting and discussing, what an investigation of this nature of a casualty might look like. This is something that happened. I'll just remind everybody. This is something that happened in a remote portion of the ocean with people from several different countries around the world. And so it is a complex case to work through, but I'm confident that those questions will begin to get answered.
In the UK, is there any suggestion that time factors, speed, anything could have prevented this or saved 5 people on board, or is this quite simply a catastrophic accident?
The question was there any suggestion that time factors may have played a role or consideration in the casualty here? And so the debris field is consistent with a catastrophic implosion of the vessel. Again, while we were prosecuting the search, we had listening devices in the water throughout and did not hear any signs of catastrophic failure from those. And so we're going to continue to investigate, or we're going to continue to document the information there and understand, based on all the information we have, the timeline.
And you were listening to a news conference there with
What type of, how big would the sound be? I think that's it. Hold on.
Rear Admiral John.
Yeah, I think that's the end. I think the rest of it is just the It was good. Well, we'll listen to that too. But how did they say how loud the implosion would be underwater? That's my next question. If we're gonna hang our hats on this, this is the cause of what we're seeing because of this debris field. It's an implosion. How loud would that be? Would they be able to detect it from miles away? Right? That I need to know that. I need to know that. I need Mythbusters. Where they at? They need to do this.
John Mauger with the U.S. Coast Guard confirming that those 5 people on that submersible have perished, saying that it was, quote, a catastrophic implosion. Also mentioning that the why, how, when did all of this happen is still unclear, but wanted to make sure the families of those 5 people you see on your screen right there were notified before they held this news conference. I want to go to Roxana Saberi, who is in Boston, has been there for several days covering this. A lot of people hoping for a miracle, but obviously as the hours went on, knowing about the supply of oxygen that they had.
I was praying they found them. Finding them could have been the answer that I know I've been looking for. What if they come back, right? They find them, they come back, and they have the story of all stories. He's down there. It's down there. Megalodon's down there. The Kraken is down there. It's down there. It rammed us. We almost didn't make it. Thank God y'all showed up. If they would have found them and had that type of a story to come, just imagine.
And the fact that this was not a submersible that had been approved or certified by any regulatory body, many people had feared the worst. Roxana?
Yeah, Jerika, as you mentioned, we just heard from the Coast Guard here in Boston. The Coast Guard has been overseeing and leading the search efforts, and Rear Admiral Mauger did say that a remote-operated vehicle that was deployed by the Canadian commercial vessel Horizon Arctic had found some debris about 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic on the sea floor, and he confirmed that this was consistent with the loss of the pressure chamber. He said it shows a catastrophic implosion of the Titan submersible that has been missing since Sunday morning. You know, as you said, people have been holding on to hope that perhaps the 5 passengers on board were still alive. We had heard reports of banging noises that were given out that were emitted every 30 minutes on Tuesday and Wednesday, but we had not heard any updates on that since Wednesday. So people were hoping that perhaps the passengers had survived, but now we are hearing that there were 5 pieces of debris that were found, and they were all belonging, they said, to the Titan submersible. So they are still investigating, trying to determine the timeline and what exactly happened. But again, they said everything points to a catastrophic implosion of the vessel. Jerika?
That's right. And those remote-operated vehicles will remain on scene. I want to turn now to CBS News Sunday morning correspondent David Pogue. He joins us now. David, you went on board the Titan last year for a story about the sub and interviewed the CEO of OceanGate. Can you tell us your reaction to all of this? I mean, you were on this. I know you didn't get that far into it, but what an experience and a tragic ending.
It's a complicated brew of emotions. I haven't completely processed the fact that Stockton Rush, the CEO, the designer of the sub, the pilot of the sub, is gone. I spent 9 intense days with him last year on the Horizon Arctic, the very ship that has just discovered the wreckage. And P.H. Nargeolet, one of the most dived Titanic experts in the world, these were amazing guys. These were adventurers. You know, these are not like me, possibly you. They thrive on risk and danger and exploration, and it's hard to think that they're just gone like that.
Yeah, we'll have much more, of course, later on. David Pogue.
Now, my final theory, right? Because a lot of people are like, you know what? Why? Why would they hang their hats on that? Simple. Go watch them, and I encourage you. This ain't no promotion or anything. Go watch the Meg. It's a part in there on the Meg where they're talking about killing it. They've already seen it. They know it's real. It's in there. They found it. They discovered it. Okay, now they're sitting there trying to figure out what to do with it. And the one guy's talking about, we need to find it and kill it before it kills other people. Well, what happens then? The other scientists become sad and they give pushback. Why do they give pushback? Because they're thinking in the sense of science, what this means, what we found, what we can figure out about it, learn about it, study of it. You know what I mean? They're thinking from a scientific standpoint. They didn't want to kill it. They would much rather tranquilize it in the movie, take it somewhere and study it. You see what I'm saying? People will go great lengths to keep things a secret if there's some gain to it, whether it's something else and it's monetary gain throughout the process or something like that. Or if from a scientific standpoint of research and learning and doing different things and achieving and understanding, bro, they'll go great lengths. We've seen it. We've heard about it. Think about the things with the Sphinx and the pyramids and stuff like that. People have lost their careers and jobs for trying to expose and do different things. Like, this thing could get deep, bro. That's why we need outside entities coming in who have no ties to anything, going down there and doing research and studying and reporting back to us what they find and what they think. Yeah, we can take from what we get from the Coast Guard as well. Not to say the Coast Guard is compromised, but we can take the information from them. But just like if you was diagnosed with a sickness or ailment or something like that, or some type of something, you would want a second and third opinion, right? Maybe even hire, if it was a legal case or something like that, you hire a private investigator, right? You want to do different things to get other perspectives to make sure you rule out the possibility that this group here isn't lying to you. That's all I'm saying. Y'all get at me in the comment section, boy. This is deep. This could get very deep. I'm gone. Peace.